Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtotara Shatasri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaura Premanande. Sarvashastrabdipiyusha Sarvavedaika Satvala Sarvasiddhantaratnadya Sarva Lokaika Drikprada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavato Prabhu Kalidvanto Ditaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varshyak Sharayate Sarvada Sarvasevaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume Mad Eka Bandho Mad Sangin Mad Guru Mad Mahadana Manistaraka Mad Bhagya Madananda Namostute Asadu Sadhu Tadain Atine Chochatakara Hanamunsha Kadachin Mam Premna Hritkanta Yospura Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Answers by citing the Lord's version, text 35. Yathā mahānti bhūtāni yathā mahānti bhūtāni bhūteṣu ucca-avaceṣu anu bhūteṣūccāvaceṣv praviṣṭāni apraviṣṭāni praviṣṭāni tathā teṣu na teṣu aham tathā teṣu na teṣvaham yathā mahānti bhūtāni bhūteṣūccāvaceṣv praviṣṭāny apraviṣṭāni tathā teṣu na teṣvaham yathā mahānti bhūtāni bhūteṣūccāvaceṣv praviṣṭāny apraviṣṭāni tathā teṣu na teṣvaham yathā mahānti bhūtāni teṣu praviṣṭāny praviṣṭāni tathā teṣu na teṣvaham mahānti bhūtāni bhūteṣūccāvaceṣv praviṣṭāny praviṣṭāni tathā teṣu na teṣvaham yathā mahānti bhūtāni bhūteṣūccāvaceṣv praviṣṭāny praviṣṭāni tathā teṣu na teṣvaham yathā mahānti bhūtāni bhūteṣūccāvaceṣv praviṣṭāny praviṣṭāni tathā teṣu na teṣvaham yathā mahānti bhūtāni bhūteṣūccāvaceṣv, praviṣṭāni, tathā teṣu na teṣu aham. Yathā mahānti bhūtāni, bhūteṣūccāvaceṣv, praviṣṭāny apraviṣṭāni, tathā teṣu na teṣu aham. Thank you. Yathā, just as. Mahānti, the universal. Bhūtāni, elements. Bhūteṣu, ucca-avaceṣu, in the minute and gigantic. Anu, after. Praviṣṭāni, entered. Apraviṣṭāni, not entered. Tathā, so. Teṣu, in them. Na, not. Teṣu, in them. Aham, myself. Translation and a part of the purport on this verse by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time I am outside of everything. Purport. The great elements of material creation, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether, all enter into the body of all manifested entities. The seas, mountains, aquatics, plants, reptiles, birds, beasts, human beings, demigods, and everyone materially manifested. And at the same time, such elements are differently situated. In the developed stage of consciousness, the human being can study both physiological and physical science, but the basic principle of such sciences are nothing but the material elements and nothing more. The body of the human being and the body of the mountain, as also the bodies of the demigods, including Brahma, are all of the same ingredients, earth, water, etc., and at the same time the elements are beyond the body. The elements were created first, and therefore they entered into the bodily construction later. But in both circumstances, they entered the cosmos and also did not enter. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his different energies, namely the internal and external, is within everything in the manifested cosmos, and at the same time he is outside of everything, situated in the kingdom of God, Vaikuṇṭhaloka, as described before. This is very nicely stated in the Brahma-saṁhitā 5.37 as follows: Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavitabhistabhirya eva nijarupataya kalabhihi goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhuto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the personality of Godhead, Govinda, who, by expansion of his internal potency of transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss, enjoys in his own and expanded forms. Simultaneously, he enters into every atom of the creation. This expansion of his plenary parts is also more definitely explained in the same Brahma-saṁhitā 5.37 as follows: Ekopyasau rachaitum jagadanda kotim yat shaktirasti jagadanda chaya yadantaha andantarasta paramanu chayantarastham Govindamadipuruṣam tamaham bhajami. I worship the personality of Godhead Govinda, who by one of his plenary portions enters into the existence of every universe and every particle of the atoms, and thus unlimitedly manifests his infinite energy all over the material creation. The impersonalists can imagine or even perceive that the Supreme Brahman is thus all-pervading, and therefore they conclude that there is no possibility of his personal form. Herein lies the mystery of his transcendental knowledge. This mystery is transcendental love of Godhead. And one who is surcharged with such transcendental love of Godhead can without difficulty see the personality of Godhead in every atom, in every movable or immovable object. And at the same time, he can see the personality of Godhead in his own abode, Goloka, enjoying internal pastimes with his eternal associates, who are also expansions of his transcendental existence. This vision is the real mystery of spiritual knowledge, as stated by the Lord in the beginning, Sarahasyam Tadangamcha. This mystery is the most confidential part of the knowledge of the Supreme, and it is impossible for the mental speculators to discover by dint of intellectual gymnastics. The mystery can be revealed through the process recommended by Brahmaji in his Brahma-saṁhitā 5.38 as follows. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santas sadeva hridayeṣu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya gunasvarupam govindamadipuruṣam tamaham bhajami. I worship the original personality of Godhead, Govinda, whom the pure devotees, their eyes smeared with the ointment of love of Godhead, always observe within their hearts. This Govinda, the original personality of Godhead, is Shyama Sundara with all transcendental qualities. The rest of the purport will be studied, read tomorrow. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saharagunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saha Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Praviṣṭāni Śrimate Bhakti-vikāsa Swami-namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Praviṣṭāni Śrimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami-namine Namaste Saraswata Deve Gaurvani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So Brahma, when he received this very cryptic message, tathā, he understood what he's supposed to do, and he performed tapasya. And he was successful and got the darshan of Lord Narayana. And Lord Narayana congratulated him for his successful tapasya, devotional service, and showed him his Vaikuṇṭha showed him his associates and asked him what he wanted. And Lord Brahma was, he said, anyway, you know everything, but still I'll ask you something. You know everything means you know what I wanted to ask, but I'll ask you anyhow. So he asked 4 questions. And Lord Narayana starts to answer. I mean, his answer, the essence of his answer is the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, which we are discussing now. And he starts with verse 31, where he states what he will discuss. It's called a table of contents. He will discuss jnanam, knowledge. He will discuss also vijnanam, realized knowledge. He'll discuss rahasya and mystery. And he'll discuss anga, so a part of that also. That's if we speak literally. So rahasya, that was already mentioned. That means prema bhakti, devotional service. And anga means sadhana bhakti, the means how to attain prema. So when Lord Narayana speaks, and that table of contents also a part of Mangalacharan. When you start at the beginning of a book, typically you have Mangalacharan. First, you offer obeisances to the Supreme Lord, to your worshipable deity, which was done by Lord Brahma. He was offering his obeisances to Lord Narayan. Now, Narayan is speaking. He is saying what he will speak, the table of contents, Vastu Nirdesha. And he gives also blessings, Ashirvada, and that he gives in verse 32, where he says that all of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by actual realization out of my causeless mercy. So this is the blessing that Lord Narayana is giving to Lord Brahma and everyone else who is following in his footsteps. So, yeah, so this is Mangalacharan is done, and now serious business. Now it's the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, just 4 verses. The Bhagavatam is eternal in 18,000 verses. That's its eternal form. It's actually Shruti in the guise of being Purana. For Purana means that the wording can be different. Sometimes you may say in this words or in other words, the main thing that the content is the same. No? You don't change, but you may say in a different way. So at the end of every Dvapara Yuga, one of the things that Vyasadeva does is that he takes the one full compendium of Puranas which exists in the heavenly planets, and that is 1 billion verses, takes that, condenses that into 18 Puranas, which all total 400,000 verses. Bhagavatam 18,000 verses. So this is called Bhagavatam. It's just 4 verses, but it's Bhagavatam. Of course, it's contained within the larger Bhagavatam. But also, if you take it out, it's because the Bhagavatam the big one and this one, the smaller, condensed one, it's the same content, it's the same message, it's the same intent. The message of the Bhagavatam is, the purpose of the Bhagavatam is to reawaken love for God, for Krishna, in the hearts of every living entity. That is Bhagavatam, that's why it's so special. It has no other purpose, right? So, if 18,000 verses do the job of reviving Krishna consciousness in a living entity, that's fine, but if that can be done in 4 verses, that's fine also. We see that who Lord Narayan is speaking to. He's speaking to Lord Brahma. Adikavi is the primeval philosopher. It's also in this tam priyamanam samupastitam kavim, in the 19th verse, if you remember. Also, Brahma is called Kavi, the philosopher. He's not just so. We need, smart people for that. If you just read these verses, like in a face value, it's nice. It's it's engaging the intelligence, but maybe we may not really take out what is the meaning. That's my first book I read was Ishopanishad. Prabhupada's book, Ishopanishad, and that was my thought. This is nice, but I don't understand much. But I like the book somehow or other. It's nice. It's about God. It's not for beginners. So the style of this Chaturshloki Bhagavatam is actually similar to Upanishads. Yeah, this is Upanishadic language. Yeah. Or Vedanta. This is the goal of the Vedas, the end of the Vedas, culmination of the Vedas, knowledge of the Absolute. So, and all the Upanishads, they are summarized in Vedanta Sutra. So, where the Supreme Lord is described with all his energies, with everything. So, therefore Vedanta Sutra is also called Shariraka Shastra or Shariraka Sutra. Why? Because this comprises the whole body. Body means Sharira, right? So it comprises the whole body of the Lord. Everything is inside. Even the knowledge of material energies, spiritual energies, living entity, everything is inside. So Krishna with all his energies. Yeah. So here, like if we see the aham eva sameva agre nanyatat satasat param, the first verse, very similar to some to Upanishads. For instance, where did I put it somewhere? Atmava idam eka evagra asinanyat kinchanamishat saikshata loka nustrijaiti. This is Aitareya Upanishad. It says also, eka agre, before he was alone, before the creation. And then he just looked, glanced, and then the worlds emanated. So that's how he created, but before he was alone. Same idea here. So, so the Puranas are mostly known as stories, histories. So we are used to that kind of language, but here, this is Vedantic language. There's no sugar coating here, it's just straight philosophy. One example is given. This was given by Hridayananda Goswami Maharaj. That if a temple president, there's a need to make a feast. So what does he do? If he tells to the expert cook, make a feast and make some pakoras also. That's all he says. He doesn't say, how to make a feast. You have to take pots, and you have to have some sabji and rice and dal and this and that. He knows what it means to feast. He knows which dishes will be there. It will be rice, it will be dal. Yeah, there's that. But if you want to explain to a non-expert cook, a new cook, you have to explain everything. These are the dishes. See. We'll make a big 12 preparations like this. This, it takes time. So this is the idea here. Brahma is an expert philosopher. So, yeah, he'll understand. And, yeah, also, at this point, it's said for the Bhagavatam, that the Vedas, let's say Upanishads, they instruct like a master, and poetry instruct like a lover, right? And Puranas, they instruct like a friend. Yeah. Stories, like that. That's a friendly talk. And the Bhagavatam has all the three inside. We see here, we see there's some other passages like that. In the fifth canto, we had also, previously was that, just forgot, the Vedic, was that Purusha Sukta? We had Purusha Sukta, again Vedic language here. So we need philosophers like Brahma, we need pure devotees. The point is not just he is a philosopher, he's a devotee and a philosopher. And the commentators, pure devotees, the parampara, members of the parampara, our Purva Acharyas, they also pure devotees, and they unpack the meaning. So we read Srila Prabhupada's, a part of Srila Prabhupada's purport. And it's quite amazing. Yeah. Like, what is there inside? And if we go and see other commentators, we will detect that Srila Prabhupada is actually taking for a template of his purport is Jiva Goswami. That's interesting. This is Jiva Goswami is commenting on the 4 Chatushloki in Bhagavad Sandarbha. So, and we'll see as we go through, as much as the time allows, how actually he shaped this, like his devotion, his intellect, this meaning of how the Lord actually enters into the hearts of devotees. And if you see the words of the verse here, it's not very obvious, but it is obvious when we are seeing through the lens of Jiva Goswami's commentary, and then that is reflected in Srila Prabhupada's purport. So Jiva Goswami says that anyways, most of the thing is, we read, it's not a new thing, but he's saying that just as the great elements, you can say bhūtāni or universal elements, cosmic elements, do not enter the bodies of living entities and are situated outside of physical bodies, they nonetheless enter within them. They appear to be situated within them, that means. Although they have not entered into the living beings due to being situated in Vaikuṇṭha, which is beyond this material world, I nevertheless appear within the heart of surrendered souls. Now, where is surrendered souls here? As teṣu, not teṣu, it's just, teṣu means in them, right? Not teṣu, not in them. But the way Jiva Goswami takes this is teṣu, na teṣu, and there's no space there, it's one word, na teṣu. Who is nata? Nata are those who are bowed down. You know, we know the namami, namamitam. You know, this the verb root is nam, and then comes nata. Yeah. So one who is bowed down. So that's why the natas are those who are surrendered. This is just the physical, the outside. We pay obeisances. That's the outside sign of our being surrendered. Right. So those who are surrendered. So in that way he enters to the heart of surrendered souls. And teṣu then qualifies teṣu na teṣu, and teṣu are those who are known for their virtuous qualities. So, and he gives an analysis of this verse. It says that, so first we have the example, right? Just like the cosmic elements, enter and do not enter. And that is why they enter and do not enter, is because of them being apart and the whole. The whole doesn't enter. The whole body of elements doesn't enter. What is that? The whole body of elements. The mahatattva, not all the mahatattva is used when the material worlds are created. It's still there. It's kind of unlimited. So that whole aggregate of elements do not enter. But the separated elements, they do enter. So this is the example here. But in the case of Krishna, the Lord, entering and not entering, it's not about him being the part or the whole, but it's about having different prakasha, different manifestations. You know, how he enters. He enters as a Paramatma in everyone. But he doesn't enter as the Supreme Lord. He stays in Vaikuṇṭha, in Goloka Vrindavan. So but still, he enters nevertheless in the hearts of the surrendered souls. That he enters. That is the mystery, which is not very obvious. So, yeah. So he's saying that verse actually, this is actually the Baudrahasya, which Narayan is stating before, what he will be speaking about. Now he's speaking about Rahasya, mystery. So that mystery is another name for Prema. Prema Bhakti. Why is it mysterious? It's mysterious because it has the power to control the Supreme Lord. That is very mysterious. Why would, the Lord, Swarad be dependent? Well, this mysterious thing, Prema Bhakti, acts in such a way. So therefore, it is stated, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabis. So we see Prabhupada also quotes this verse from the Brahma-saṁhitā. What is the point of this, quoting this verse? Is that Krishna, Govinda, he's Akhilatma Bhūtaha. He is present in the self of every living being. Akhila, all. Atma Bhuta. In all the Bhutas, he's present. And the self, Atma Bhuta, you can say the soul of the self of every living being. But at the same, Goloka eva nivasati. He stays in Goloka. Then Prabhupada will quote another verse in between, not quoted by Jiva Goswami. You see, Prabhupada is an independent acharya. He takes what he likes to take, and he adds if he wants to add something. It's, Is, in one sense, it's his own creation, impelled by Krishna. Tells him what to write, what to take. So he will, where is it? Oh. Prabhupada quotes, he will quote ekopya saura chaitum jagadanda kotim, which just underlines how he enters into the world, into the all the living entities as Paramatma. In the universe is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and in every atom as Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. So just he's further, giving more proof, more evidence how Krishna enters as Paramatma in this world. And then this verse comes, Pramanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. So, which means that this, we know what it means, these eyes which are anointed with love, with prema, then the devotees, pure devotees, they can always see in their hearts Krishna, Shama Sundara, who is Achintya Guna Swarupa. The Lord has inconceivable attributes, Achintya Guna. It's inconceivable qualities. But still, devotees can see Him. They can see Him because of this prema. These eyes are anointed. You can say also, this prema will make everything clear so devotees can see. So, in the Gita, Krishna says also that ye bhajanti tamam bhaktya mayite teṣu chapyaham, that whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I'm also a friend to him. I'm in him also, he says. Teṣu api aham, I am in them. So, Jiva Goswami gives an alternative meaning also to the verse. He says that just as the universal elements appear outside the living beings as well as inside them, I similarly appear both within the minds as well as in the external senses of my devotees. He's outside also. He doesn't enter, but he's outside. This point will be elaborated more by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur very nicely. In other words, the cause of being behind the devotees having no object, the cause behind the devotees having no object other than me in their thoughts or actions, that is this self-luminous substance which is blissful in nature called prema. Prema makes all this, that Krishna appears within you, Krishna appears also outside in the senses. So prema is that thing which will make everything right. A devotee who has prema, he cannot do anything wrong. It's just everything is guided by that. That's this rahasya substance. So, and Brahmaji also said similarly. Now Jiva Goswami quotes from the Bhagavatam from just a little earlier, 2.6.34, where he says that, O Narad, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false, nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter. So here, directly prema is not spoken about, but we know later on when exactly that verse, that when it says that prema, in that 19th verse of the 9th chapter, Brahma is described as one who has prema, priya, priya, priya. You remember, priya, priyam, pritamana, sprishekaran, kare sprishan. So the commentators say that priya means that that describes the Lord, Narayan, who is controlled by the prema of Brahma, and priyam, that is Narayan, Brahma, who has prema, he's full of prema. So anyway, Brahma has prema, and whatever he does it correctly because of that. And then Jiva Goswami understands that there may be some other interpretations of this verse. So says one may contradict this interpretation, this not teṣu, take it together. But he says no, but it's true, because this meaning comes in the context of Lord's intent on fulfilling the four propositions which he described before, jnana, vijnana, rahasya, anga. So here he speaks about rahasya. It's exactly in the context. It's a time to speak about rahasya. So here's rahasya. If you don't take it like this, where's the rahasya? I'm in them, I'm not in them. It's Paramatma, not Paramatma. It's not a secretive language, it's not secretive knowledge that everybody knows, so to say. Even the impersonalists know that. But this kind of interpretation is secret. So it's rahasya, bhakti. And also, he's saying that this praviṣṭāni, apraviṣṭāni, this has to be used with teṣu. If it's used with both of the this teṣu and na teṣu, then it's redundant. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, we'll not go into this. It's a little grammatical, but it says that my interpretation is right. It should be taken like that, because how it is taken is bhūteṣu. Where we have it. Bhūteṣu teṣu. So in those living beings, in teṣu it is the same ending, right? In them, in the living beings. Teṣu aham, I am in them, and na teṣu, not in them, I am, means I'm not. So that's taken, but this praviṣṭāni, apraviṣṭāni is not used. It's just used for the first part, which speaks about the elements having entered or not entered, but not about what is the real message of the verse, that Krishna is entering or not entering in the living beings. So and he says, why is it said like this? Because Krishna is saying, Parokṣavāda rishaya parokṣam cha mama priyam. Krishna is saying in the 11th canto to Uddhava that the rishis keep their meaning out of sight. That's paroksha. Paroksha means beyond the eyes. What you can see, it's beyond. And I am pleased by such hidden explanations. He's pleased with that. So it's hidden. And a secret is something which is not to be given away. Something which is rarely known, and it is of utmost importance. That is a secret. Secret is not something unimportant. You don't keep a secret something unimportant. It's very so that is kept hidden from view, like common view. It's hidden like example is given like jewels, or a jewel it's in this pearls. Jewels are kept in a box, jewel box. It's not just scattered around. So Krishna says that the Lord sometimes awards liberation, never bhakti yoga. That is also, it will be quoted by Prabhupada. And he says that sarva guhyatamam bhuya shrinu me paramam vachaha. So I'll give you, it's now here once more in my supreme words, which are most confidential. So Krishna speaks to Uddhava in the 11th canto, also says that I'll speak sugopyam api vakshyami. Although it is very hidden, I'll speak to you that. So that giving out the mystery is going on. Rajiva Goswami detected that Brahma revealed this secret to Narada. You know, he was Brahma got these 4 verses, and then he instructed Narada. It was in a 5th and 6th chapter of this canto. That is the Bhagavatam also, little expanded, over 100 verses. And he's saying that idam Bhagavatam nama yanme bhagavatoditam sangrahoyam vibhutinam tvat etat vipulikuru. So expand this science, vipulikuru. And how do you do that? Yathā haro bhagavatindrinam bhaktir bhavishyati. So that the living entities will develop transcendental devotional service unto personality of Godhead. That bhakti, bhavishyati, and the living entities. So Brahma understood the secret. It's positively proven here, and said to Narada, you go on, explain more. Vipulikuru. So Narada did that in many ways. He was instructing many devotees. He is a preacher, right? Transcendental astronaut, going everywhere, wherever is need, he's there. And also, he is the spiritual master of Vyasadeva. So he told him also that you should speak on the Bhagavatam. So he instructed him how to do it. And then the Vyasadeva went into meditation, and then everything was revealed to him, the 18,000 verses Bhagavatam. So in that way also, that went on. And why Narad Muni explained that you haven't emphasized devotional service enough. It's not very clear. It should be clear. So you see this bhakti yoga, prema bhakti, it's rahasya, but still it's not that, it's an open secret. That's the point. It's an open secret. It's not that, I will not tell you, because no, we are the preacher, Brahma is a preacher, Narada is a preacher, Srila Prabhupada is a preacher, it's a preaching movement. We are preaching this secret, but although we are doing, as much as, Krishna is empowering us, it's still, there's not so many which are taking up. It remains a secret. It remains a secret. Unless you are a devotee, you cannot appreciate it. So, anyway. But there are many ways how to engage non-devotees in devotional service. So that we're doing by the mercy of the Parampara Srila Prabhupada. So Jiva Goswami concludes his purport, his commentary, says that, Sridhar Swami already explained that this sarahasya means bhakti. So that's, I agree with that. So that's correct. He didn't agree with how he explained the verse, but with that, this verse particular, but that is, rahasya is bhakti. So that is given here in a Upanishadic language. Anyway, there's more. There's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explaining how Krishna appears in the external senses of devotees. We can see him, touch him, smell him, speak to him. And he does that with attachment. He's attached to that. He cannot leave his devotees alone. Whereas that's how he enters and doesn't enter the devotees. But when he enters the material world, like an ordinary devotees, he does that. Ordinary living beings and all the whatever is there in the world, living and non-living entities, he does that out of duty. He does that as Paramatma. There's not much attachment there. It's not at all. But when he performs pastimes with attachment. One small thing from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his Bhagavat Arka Marichimala. So Bhagavat Arka Marichimala is the Bhaktivinoda Thakur's compilation of a few verses of the Bhagavatam, topically divided. And there he gives his own translations to the verses. So this one is included. He's saying, that's just one part of the translation, the jivas, the transformations of the jiva shakti are naturally my surrender devotees. I enter into them as Paramatma and take the jivas who have attained prema to my spiritual abode. This is my eternal pastime. So we see this connection between Paramatma and Krishna, the personality of Godhead, as a person who you can love, should love. So he's saying this, that combines everything. Krishna entering in this world as Paramatma and also taking the devotees to himself. And this is his eternal pastime. So anyway, so we spoke something on the verses, trying to, unveil a little bit. But there's still so much more there. So anyway, any questions, comments? Yes, Mataji.
Haribol. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
I'm a little confused about this point. The body of the human being and the body of the mountain, as also the bodies of the demigods, including Brahma, are all of the same ingredients, earth, water, fire, etc. But we know that Brahma's body is pure intelligence. So why is Prabhupada writing like this over here?
Well, he's expanding upon Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's. He's explaining this. We see there's two words here, bhūteṣu, there's ucca-avaceṣu, which means bigger and smaller living entities. Prabhupada didn't care to translate that in the translation. It's given in the word for word, in the minute and the gigantic. Let me see Vishwanath, he is saying, explaining this higher and lower bhutas, living entities, deva, manushya, tiryak, adishu. So we say deva, this means demigods. Prabhupada included Brahma also. So now we can, there's no, you can say mahānti, bhūtāni, but in one sense intelligence is also an element, right? Subtle element. So that's how we can adjust, I think. So we don't want to say Prabhupada is not right. No, he's right in that sense, right? It's material, that's the point. It's not spiritual. So, yeah. Our bodies are not made with intelligence, true. It's gross, there's 5 gross elements. So, in that sense.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you for revealing so many open secrets today.
It's all there, it's given. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. That's the sutra.
I just wanted to share the some more reference regarding this, if you don't mind. One is from the birth of Lord Krishna. It's mentioned how in regular people, Lord exhibits himself as Paramatma, but in that section it's mentioned how he transformed himself into Shyam Sundar, into the minds of the devotees.
Yes.
In that section. Another one, the confirmation from
Which
Bhakti.
section you're quoting from?
It is the birth of Lord Krishna,
Okay.
where he enters into the mind of Vasudeva and he transfers it to Devaki. There it's mentioned that. And other confirmation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur regarding these open secrets. He mentions where he said the Goswamis were very much worried of how to hide these secrets, amazing secrets. So he says that they actually put their minds together and put these open secrets in so many Puranas. So if you look at some Sattva Puranas, you know, they are in the three modes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like Padma Purana and others like that.
Six
so
of
he
them,
said, yeah, he says, there they are revealed, but the person who doesn't have understanding, or they haven't reached the higher understanding in their devotional service, they cannot detect it. So that's why it's open secret, but it will be hidden until a person reaches the certain level of bhakti.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm just saying, Prabhupada is saying that here in the purport, that impersonalists cannot imagine this. Like, this is, that, you know, it's here, it says everything, but they cannot imagine that the Lord has a personal form. So, the mystery is transcendental love of Godhead. So, and one who has that, then he will see all these things. These things, yeah.
and the third one I wanted to share with you, I came across when I gave the class yesterday on it's 6th canto,
Yeah.
chapter 9, verse number 33.
Okay.
It's like
I
really
don't-
amazing how it describes the bliss a devotee feels is actually personally the form of the Lord himself. And that's like mind-blowing. You know what I mean? 6:9:33. You can check.
So what can we conclude of that? The Lord is comprised of full bliss. That's Satchitananda, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Anything else? Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada